Hello, welcome to my EDL 850 case study. My name is Ian Martinez-McGraw, and here we go. So the overview of the situation. For the past 3 years, the PTA and the school faculty and staff agreed to use available monies from fundraising to purchase new computers. Because of their efforts, a computer lab housing 20 computers was available to students and teachers. Primary goal agreed on by the parent faculty committee of the PTA was to purchase new software for the next 2 years. Consequently, the library media specialist, Mrs. Lynn, worked with teachers and Mr. Sample to prioritize a list of software programs aligned with the instructional objectives of as many grade levels and subjects as possible. Mr. Sample made a point to see Mrs. Lynn the next day after he noticed a pile of flash drives by a library computer and asked Mrs. Lynn about them. Mrs. Lynn proudly told Mr. Sample that she found a way to save the school money. Making multiple copies of the new programs makes the technology available that so many more teachers and students. Our parents worked hard to earn that money, and I've been told that many teachers want to have these programs copied and installed on their classroom computers. So what's Mrs. Brandon's problem, Mr. Sample? Do I need to call the PTA officers and explain how much money the school is saving by copying these expensive and worthwhile programs? Our children deserve the best. You certainly are resourceful, Mr. Sample said, but I must make you aware that you are doing a violation of copyright and will be serious consequences for the school. The school district and if discovered by the publisher. You'll have to collect all copies and stop making others. Come on, Mr. Sample, said Mrs. Lynn. Do you think that anyone will notice or even care a few copies of for classroom at St. Regis? We're 25 miles away from the closest city. The PTA president, Mrs. Evans, volunteered at the library yesterday. She helped make the copies and was pleased with the stretching PTA dollars to help the students and staff. Section 1. Summarize the case. So what has happened or what is happening? Through PTA-sponsored fundraising event, the teachers allocated money in order to purchase new software for their computers. The library media specialist, Mrs. Lynn, decided to take the already produced computer programs in the lab that are copyrighted and copy them on flash drives and share them amongst the other building teachers. Mrs. Brandon has brought this situation to Mr. Sample's attention, and he has addressed the issue with Mrs. Lynn. What didn't happen? Mr. Sample was not informed right away. Mrs. Lynn did not ask for permission upon copying the software onto the flash drives. When and where did certain events occur? A rural school district, specifically St. Regis School, that has 420 students. The closest larger city is 25 minutes away. Teachers are divided by grade level, K through 4 and 5 and up. Who is or might be involved or concerned by this situation? Mr. Sample, Mrs. Brandon, Mrs. Lynn, classroom teachers at St. Regis. Section 1 continued. What do parties involved have to say about it? Mr. Sample has to say is concerned with the consequences the school staff and district may endure for the copyright laws and policies they may face. Mrs. Brandon is concerned about the consequences she might face by knowing what was going on with Mrs. Lynn. Mrs. Lynn does not think anyone will care what she is doing. She states that she was wanting to save the school money. Classroom teachers at St. Regis, not fully aware of what consequences they may face. PTA not too involved or aware of the laws or the situation happening. What data did Mr. Sample use to help him make data-informed decisions? What data was ignored? He noticed a pile of flash drives by a library computer and asked Mrs. Lynn about them. Did Mr. Sample use formal and informal, culturally responsive and accessible assessments? If so, how? He did. He heard from multiple people and approached the situation calmly. Did Mr. Sample promote the current, future success and well-being of each student and adult? If so, how? I believe so, he did. He told Mrs. Lynn to stop making copies and collect the other 25 she had already made. Section 2. Legal or ethical issues. Has anyone been harmed by the action or decision of another? If so, in what way? St. Regis and the district itself has been harmed by the choices of Mrs. Lynn. Does the action or the situation contravene an existing law? Was there a breach of contract? Were actions discriminatory or constituted harassment? More likely, there was a breach of contract by Mrs. Lynn based on the policies and procedures under the copyright for St. Regis. Copyright law was violated by copyright infringement. Did Mr. Sample's actions or lack of actions interfere with the current and future success of his students and teachers? How about their well-being? I believe he handled it well. He addressed the issue with Mrs. Lynn, but also talked her up about some of her strengths. Synthesize the case. Mrs. Lynn had committed an act of copyright infringement and had been violated school and district policy. She should not have been copying and sharing computer software to other staff in the building. Section 4. Some of the facts. So what is known? The people that are known as Mr. Sample, he's a principal for 3 years at St. Regis, new to the community, cares about positive relationships and interactions. Mrs. Lynn works well with others. She got caught for copying software and sharing it with the staff. Mrs. Brennan, a new teacher who teaches 3rd grade at St. Regis, she knows about the copyright laws and policies. Mrs. Williams, a more experienced teacher at St. Regis, PTA, helped purchase the software for St. Regis, does a lot of the school to help raise money, not aware of the copyright situation. The students at the school, there are about 420. None were specifically specified individually. The place, St. Regis Community School. It's a rural area, only 2 grocery stores, 1 drugstore. Students are bused into the city for high school. Closest big city is 25 miles away. The program. The school is a K-8. There's 2 special education teachers, 2 general education teachers for each grade level, 420 students total at the school. What is unknown? How many times did Mrs. Lynn had copied software in the past that went unnoticed? There were any teachers who helped Mrs. Lynn? Was there copied software already being used before Mr. Sample has Mrs. Lynn removed the 25 flash drives? What kind of copyright license the software holds and what punishment could be permissible? Did the district administration and also PTA ever find out about this? What is the district's specific copyright policies and procedures around copyright? Prioritize the information. Could the conflict or situation on the decision be damaging to stakeholders or to the community? Yes, it can. It can negatively impact and affect St. Regis School by giving them bad publicity. It can also result in financial penalties and potential termination of staff. What individuals or groups have been important stake in the outcome? St. Regis School and District, the St. Regis staff, Mrs. Lynn, Mr. Sample, District Admin, PTA. Have all the relevant stakeholders been consulted? I believe the consultation needs to happen with the PTA and also the District Admin Superintendent. Can I learn more about the situation? Yes, we all can. I would like to know how many times has Mrs. Lynn copied software in the past that went unnoticed? Were there any teachers who helped Mrs. Lynn? Was the copied software already being used before Mr. Sample or Mrs. Lynn removed the 25 flash drives? What kind of copyright license does the software hold and punishment that could happen? Did the district admin and also PTA ever find out about this? What's district specific copyright policies and procedures around copyright? Do I know enough about this to make a decision? A decision can be made due to Mrs. Lynn admitting to doing it. The outcome of the decision may not be clear as there is some info that is unknown at this time. Section 6. Improve and develop. What could I do in this situation? I could really evaluate the situation and make the best informed decisions. The first one to consider would be not making any decisions or taking no action. Allow Mrs. Lynn to continue copying software and put myself at risk of termination by not putting a stop to it. Second, to consider the most comprehensive or liberal action you might take in this situation. Have the district set strict filters on the computers and have admin approve or download or install any new software. Have staff go through rigorous training and reassure them of knowing all the laws and policies. Then identify several intermediate strategies. Do not rule out any option at this stage, even though the outset it may be an unlikely choice. So some of the ideas I came up with are create a budget and talk to PTA for fundraising to install the computer software programs for the teachers and students. Provide mandatory training on copyright laws, whether this is additional stipends in the summertime. Have staff sign a district technology agreement that has our copyright policy stated. Create a system to where staff gets approval for any new software installation, and see if the district can get a technology coordinator or teacher position that can be in charge of software installation. Some pros and cons of the options. Option 1, pros are teachers continue to use the software. St. Regis would also save money. The pros of the liberal action is the school may not have any copyright infringement charges. The cons is if they were to get caught, the school would be facing copyright infringement charges. Mr. Sample would look like someone who does not have any integrity. Mrs. Brandon would more than likely leave the school. Option 2, cons, the staff would be unhappy with the decision, feel like they are being micromanaged. Section 8, develop a plan. Why is this the best option? Allowing the staff to be trained to know all the laws and policy around copyright issues would best serve our school. Prohibiting the use of software until this issue is all cleared up. How can this option be implemented with the greatest care? For implementing the plan, staff needs to be trained very diligently go over all the law and policy, make sure all questions are answered, and all staff are informed of what possible consequences the school may or district may face. Has staff and students been consulted? Conversations should always happen with staff and students. From there, a member of the district admin should be informed as to what is also going on. And also follow-ups. They should have follow-up staff meetings to ensure that everyone is on the same page. The monetary value as well as status of the district can put in jeopardy if laws are violated. Students' well-being will be affected also if this happens. They will not be able to learn or gain any knowledge of the schools not running as normal. So, Section 9, what is my plan? Communicate with school staff about copyright laws, communicate with school leadership about copyright laws, communicate the plan with school staff, talk to the district technology director, if applicable, about the installation of the software, have staff training on the copyright laws and policies, come up with school technology usage plan, have staff sign a technology agreement. What may happen? Staff may feel micromanaged and frustrated at first because it is very monotonous work. However, they'll be informed of what issues can arise for copyright infringement. They will also be very involved in the technology plan that will be developed and used within the school. So who are some of the people who needs to know? School staff, district leadership, and also PTA. How to deal with these involved? If breaking district policy rule, the district leadership would need to be involved in the process. What if this does not work? If the plan doesn't work, then us as a staff will go back to the drawing board and see what part of the plan is working and what part is not, kind of weigh out the pros and cons. I would like the staff to be involved through the whole process and provide as much transparency as possible so that staff does not feel like it is being left out. Conclusion. By doing this case study, I was able to promote current and future success and well-being of all the staff and students at St. Regis School. I was able to do so by applying my knowledge of copyright laws and policies to better improve our school's management and use of technology. CLO 6.3, by completing this case study, I communicated the laws and policies of copyright infringement. I was able to make sure the staff was aware of the violations, and communicated with the infringement and took upon the appropriate steps to address and handle the situation. I included all stakeholders throughout the whole process. How was this relevant to my current learning? Being able to understand how to handle the situation as a teacher here at an online high school, students are constantly getting onto websites and applications they're not supposed to. As a future building leader, 2 examples would be I will know what proper channels are and how to handle it. Situations like this, follow the chain of command. Most people think that there are only issues from students, but as building leader, you'll have to be prepared to handle situations with staff also. This assignment really helped me know how to talk to staff without making matters worse. The approach to this situation in this case study was the most important. I thought handled really well by Mr. Sample. My references, and I appreciate you guys listening to my presentation, and thank you. This class was a pleasure, and see you guys later.